The Minnesota Wild Podcast is presented exclusively by Acrisure.
5 inches tonight and tomorrow.
Oh,
That's
nothing around here, huh?
Doesn't affect you.
5 inches, yeah.
Man, it hasn't snowed that much in the last 2 years.
I know. I don't know what it's like.
Checking in on some of the guys, Philip Gustafson, Zuccarello, Eriksson Ek, offhand, weren't out there. Maintenance
days, yeah.
All of them,
yep.
so nobody's in concern of not being in lineup tomorrow?
Correct.
Okay.
Who is your goalie tomorrow, John?
Gus.
Are all the guys good to go for the Four Nations, the guys that you have scheduled to go?
Yes. Yep.
How's that going to work, John? Like, you'll still be in the tournament mode when I think everyone starts to come back into town and report for practice, so will someone else kind of run practices for?
Yeah,
like, how will that kind of
the assistant coaches will run it, and then we have it planned out. Like we met as a staff of what we'll do, what we'll emphasize, the drills and all that. So it's kind of like you would plan training camp, and then the guys will run it.
You won't expect like the Four Nations participants to like come back right away to join practice, like maybe just the last one before.
Probably the last. Yeah. If whoever doesn't play in that final game on Thursday, they will have a few days off, and then probably Friday. Most likely Friday before the Detroit game.
Does it kind of just depend on how you look at it? If it's like, oh, it'll be good for a break if you're not playing, but if you are playing, you get to keep playing and you maybe get some momentum to bring back to your team, or like how do you think players will look at it based on whether or not they're going?
Well, probably both. If it probably depends on what situation you're in. If you're not going, it is an opportunity to get away and get away from the game a little bit. But at the same time, I think if you are playing, it's an unbelievable opportunity where, it's you're playing for your country, which is always special. You're around other elite players. The intensity of the tournament is going to be really fun. So I think it's two great opportunities. If you're not going, you have a great opportunity to get away from it. But if you are going, it's a special event, and I think everyone that goes there is going to take positives away from it.
You mentioned the intensity. Does that concern you as a head coach of an NHL team when these guys have to come back hopefully unscathed from a tournament where you do know guys are going to be giving it their all?
Yeah, I think the injury thing is it's tough to predict, right? I mean, you could play and then nothing happens. Obviously, if you're on break, you could do something and something could happen that way. So those are things you can't really control. From my perspective, I think for our guys that are going is the more you can play in high stakes environments, the more tests you get in those yourself as a player, I think is really important for us moving forward as a team and an organization, and also seeing other elite players, how they perform, their routines, what they're like, in those high pressure, high stakes situations. Because whoever they're playing with is going to be an elite player, and you're going to be playing with guys that are Stanley Cup champions, Olympic champions, World Championships, World Cups. You're around the elite of the elite, and I think for us and our organization and where we want to go, I think the experience is only beneficial in that sense.
How have you balanced it yourself, preparing as a staff for it, also keeping yourself locked into the team here? Like how much have you kind of parcel per day of phone calls and stuff like that with?
Yeah, it's Sully's done a really good job of organizing it from a coaching staff perspective, where we've had Zoom calls periodically, and then we get some assignments to do, and there's plenty of time where you can do it. And it's like anything, you have to compartmentalize, right? The number one priority is the Wild and taking care of everything here, but sometimes you get up a couple hours earlier and do some work, or it could be an off day where you spend some time doing it, where it takes nothing away from your job here. It's when you have your downtime. It's maybe you're not watching a Netflix show in the afternoon or in the evening. So okay, I'm going to put an hour and a half in on my assignments for Team USA, whatever it is. So it's been good. It's been really well organized, and it hasn't really it's been fun to do, but it hasn't been overbearing by any means.
Your intel on at least 3 Swedish players should be pretty sharp to.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. Yep, that is.
Does it ever get old?
Has Sully told you if Crosby's playing?
No, I haven't talked to him about that yet. No.
How is he divvying up? Like, are the assistant coaches just doing a mix and match of special teams, or are you in charge of one? Yeah, mix and match. We've talked about, we've kind of done it just basically 5-on-5 of how we want to be able to play, and then we've talked about different things on the penalty kill and the power play, and it'll be a little bit more of a team coaching versus just one guy. Might be maybe Sully and I do PK for a little bit, but it wouldn't be like
Quinny and Torts wouldn't be involved in that at all. I think what we'd like to do is have some assessment from everybody, what the eyes and ears are, what we see in different situations. Because it's such a short tournament event, right? In the beginning of it, you don't have any pre-scouting on Finland, so it's just okay. What are the elemental things we want to implement in all those situations? And then from a team perspective, you'll have 1 or 2 games of pre-scouting. So we'll work collectively as a group in all those areas.
Does it always feel just as special for you? We talked to the players about what it means to put the red, white, and blue on. You've done it at so many different levels and then so many different variations. Does it always give you kind of those goosebumps to be a part of it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's always special to be able to represent your country. And, I know people say that, but it does have a lot of meaning. Now, when you're in the NHL, there's always people that have helped you get there. But when you're representing your country, I think in all of the countries that, people pay attention to it. You are playing for USA Hockey. You're representing the United States of America in an international event. You're around people that you're playing for and coaching for, people that have helped you all the way up to to be able to get to where you want to get to. And I think in my experiences at like the World Juniors, the Men's World Championships, the World Cup, and then now the 4 Nations, there is at the pro level there is a big. There is pride in that,
Especially to see how far USA Hockey has come and the talent that they've developed and grown. I mean, USA is a favorite to win this tournament, which hasn't always been the case in the history.
Yeah, it certainly has, and I think it's been, and that's why it means a lot, because I think now where you're getting up into the age of players, with the National Team Development Program, the USHL. The various high schools around, like a state like Minnesota. I think that it's a lot of the players that are going to be on the team have kind of come up through those environments. Now you have the American development model for the youth players, and that's where the players and also some of that national pride too is they've participated in it. The USA Hockey's helped them, I think, grow. And then the other part is that a lot of the guys know each other. They played with each other in these international tournaments, and I think that's where a lot of that pride and camaraderie comes in.
Do you have a favorite moment, World Juniors or World Championship, or do you have a favorite Team USA moment?
Yeah, I would say being part of the first ever World Junior gold medal game in Finland. It was a great team. It was a high intensity tournament, and it was I think the first time to be able to accomplish that was special, just because it was a special group of players, and how hard it is to win, and having the opportunity to be part of that was special.
That was Mike Eaves.
Mike was the head coach. Yeah.
Zuccarello, I think you said something recently about him, like he talks the talk, but he walks the walk. Just what's unique about his leadership style, and kind of the niche he's carved in that role, different than Spurgeon, different than Foligno, but like what's unique about how he carries himself?
I think Zuki is. He's played so long, and he's got a lot of. I think hockey smarts and perspective on the game, but there's a little bit of old school to him where he's a tenacious competitor. He's okay with some hard conversations if and when they're needed, and that's what I respect most about him. Is you all see the talent and the skill that he has, but deep down you don't play as long as he's played if you don't have a tremendous competitive spirit. And I think in talking with him about say the last few weeks when we had meetings about what was going on, he was a guy that said some things, but at the same time, there wasn't a say and do gap of this is what I think we should do or what we need to do, and then, someone else can do that. It's not me. I think, usually if he speaks up to the team or in a meeting or to me, usually he backs it up with action, which to me is important.
The player you're coaching now versus the player you would have faced when he was with New York and you were with New Jersey, better, different? Like everyone I think assumes that he's just this Ranger iconically, but the career that he's establishing here with Minnesota, how long he's played here, this is some of his best hockey.
Yeah, no, it's coaching against him. He was always what he is now. Like he was always a threatening guy. To me, what's impressed me the most about him is more what I said was that he's as a smaller guy, as skilled as he plays, there's a competitiveness to him that if you don't see him and work with him every day and see what it's like, he's a great offensive player, but he's as committed to anyone to the competitiveness of the game, and also without the puck. If you watch him track and back check and stop in D zone coverage and have his assignments, like he's a complete player. That's what's impressed me the most.
I'll just how important was last night. I get the ebbs and flows of the season, but How important was that result last time?
Well, it was good. It's coming off the road, and obviously we had a good road trip, but didn't end the way we wanted to. And I thought we got back to more of the game we needed to play against Boston and didn't get the result. And then to be able to come back and play a solid game, more of the style of game that gives us the chance to win, and lots of, I think, a pretty complete team effort was what we were looking for. So it was good.
Foligno didn't get the goal last night. He's had a strong season overall. How much difference do you see for him last year with the surgery after in the summertime, maybe having him play more of his game and kind of more free?
Yeah, last year I didn't really get a chance to see him live and everything he could do, because even when he was playing hurt. But then this year you see the impact that he has from a physical perspective, what he brings to the team from a leadership perspective on the bench, in the room, and in the way that he plays. And the thing I like the most about him is his attention to detail. This year, like, I've had several people in the organization tell me that the stretch of Moose playing this year right now is maybe the most detailed and best he's played in a while. And I think that's a tribute to him. Even right now, he's really worked himself into a top 4 penalty killer. He's done a really good job in that role. And overall, he's been able to move around on different lines, and he's been able to play with his physical abrasiveness and the hardness that he plays with. But I really like the way that he's matching it with strong attention to detail as well.
John, do you see similarities between McAvoy and Faber? They've long been compared to each other.
Other than the way they look.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it feels like almost. Is it because of just the way they look, or is there actual similarities in the game?
No, I think one is, you probably get that because of the way that they look. But no, I think both right-shot defensemen, both great skaters. I think strong two-way defensemen. Both can play with a little bit of abrasiveness in their game. But I think they're like, what I mean good two-way defensemen is they both can skate really well. They both defend hard, and they're difficult to play against. But from an offensive perspective, their skating's always a factor. I wouldn't say that they're like cute offensive players, but they got a good shot. They can deliver the puck. They can move the puck up the ice. They can join the rush. And both right now, even Fabes, they both have power play element to their game. So I do see a lot of similarities to the style of the player.
Right. How excited are you guys with the two of them, on that right side in the Four Nations? Obviously, Sully might be a little biased toward one of them, but it just feels like that they could be two really big mainstays for defensively.
Yeah, for sure. I think on for all those reasons we talked about, I think they're versatile. Both can play. Both have a power play element to the game. I don't know, with those D, if they'll both be on the power play. I don't know that yet. But obviously, penalty killing, their ability to skate and play against the high level of talent that's going to be in that tournament is really important. And that's a lot of times what you need is when you get into these events is not really guys that are kind of really good at one thing but not at the other. For the most part, you need guys that can play both sides of the puck at a high level. And I think their ability to play, their physical ability along with their skating and their competitive level.
For an extraordinary advantage in sports, you need a game plan. For an extraordinary advantage everywhere else, all you need is Acrisure. With a high-tech human approach to insurance, cybersecurity, and more, Acrisure helps you take care of what you care about. That makes winning easy. See what Acrisure's extraordinary advantage can do for you at Acrisure.com.